Hey guys! All right, so in this video, we are going to talk about the spirit of lust. Okay. Now, I had already mentioned talking about lust like last week, and I have had a plethora of emails from a lot of women just basically expressing their frustration with dealing with this spirit in their husband or in their God ordained partner. So, what I'm going to do is I am actually going to do a teaching on it so you guys can get an understanding of it. And just so you know that it's not impossible, because I had a spirit of lust and God delivered me from it. And I'm pretty sure there's other people out there watching this video that dealt with this spirit where you no longer have those desires anymore. So let's get into it. What is lust? What is a spirit of lust? Well, lust is a demonic spirit. However, it is a demonic spirit that is never satisfied. Okay. It literally is a spirit that will cause a person to literally, it's almost like they refuse to be satisfied. It's like if a person has this spirit, it's like they crave more and more and more and more. Okay. And it basically pushes people into cycles of obsession and perversion and bondage. So a lot of times, like, willpower is not enough to stop. Like, it literally takes a confrontation with the Holy Ghost to get rid of. Okay. So the spirit of lust actually enters in through a lot of open doors, much like a lot of demons. So for example, like bloodline, okay, if there's a lot of open doors in a bloodline, that spirit can come in and drive a person to be unsatisfied with just one person, making it impossible for them to be married or just satisfied in itself to a marital covenant or even a relationship. And once it gains access, then it literally will build an altar in your mind or in a person's mind where they're replaying sexual moments, where they're replaying images. This spirit will also drive you to have desires and urges that you cannot control. So lust will deceive a person, saying that you need to do this to feel comfortable, or you need to do this to feel loved by another person. So for me, I would always confuse the two. So I would always think that certain acts meant a person loved me if I give into it or whatnot. But honestly, that's the deception of lust. Lust drives after a person to feel a certain desire, but ultimately you want more and more and more and more. Why? Because that spirit is operating through an open door, whether it be rejection, whether it be abandonment, whether it be insecurity. There's so much that could be broken in a man or a woman that causes them to be promiscuous. And the ultimate agenda of this demonic spirit is basically to destroy, to bring destruction. So it will rob a person of their innocence. All right. It destroys marriages. It destroys intimacy. So this spirit is very, very demonic. And a lot of times we like to say, and I found myself saying, well, it's natural for a man to desire a woman in that way. And honestly, it's not natural. I had to learn what God's true agenda was and what normal was inside God. And the normal thing is for a man to have a wife and to only have eyes for his wife alone, okay? And to honor and love his wife like how Christ loves the church. That's the normal way of, I feel that a man should like desire a woman. Most people believe that, well, if a person is ordained by God, then it's okay for us to be in fornication. It's okay because this is my chosen person anyway. And really, that's deception, because sin will rob you of your promise from the Lord. So lust is not something that you can break on your own. It literally will take prayer and fasting, because that's how strong this spirit is. It literally will try to control your will, and you will keep falling over and over and over again, and eventually you'll be done fall so much times you don't know how to get back in. But it also manipulates your trauma. So let's say that, a woman is believing God for a husband, and this man comes in and, he wants to do it, right? Well, that spirit will basically deceive you because of your vulnerability and make you feel like, well, do it because this is a sign that he loves you. This was something that I fell into all the time. Like, I felt like my intentions, I just wanted to be loved, but I had no idea that I was being driven by lust, because naturally I thought that, okay, well, if I'm with this person and we're intimate, and this is outside of marriage, okay? If I'm with this person and we are intimate, then they love me, when really that's the deception. That is the deception. I had to learn that a man that truly loves you and is from God, they will not lead you into sin, okay? Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to come perfect, because sometimes you could be with somebody that is ordained by God and they have these weaknesses, and this is where they have to go through their own process of healing and figuring out not to use, not to be basically to be obedient over your fleshly desires. The devil always uses our ignorance against us, okay? Because sometimes we enter into these things and we don't really understand how destructive these spirits are. And I've always said you do not want to be in a covenant with someone who has a spirit of lust, because it literally is a battlefield, because they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. They feel like, they don't understand why, or it could be a bloodline thing. And, even if you're not married and somebody has this spirit, you need to be praying for their deliverance. You need to be praying that God strips them of this desire and that they come into the understanding that obedience is better than pleasing their flesh. This spirit has literally caused people to die. All right. This spirit has causes men and women to cheat on their wives, and some of them lose their lives, behind this spirit of lust, because they're connected to somebody who's already in a relationship, and it just gets very, very messy. This spirit is literally assigned to destroy a person's destiny. So when we look at Samson and when we read about Solomon, these people, look at how their lives turned out, because they had this spirit of lust. Solomon was very wise, but lust basically corrupted his wisdom. If you are not married, this is for you. If you're not married, you don't want to entertain that. Even if he is jokingly saying things like that, do not entertain it, because that spirit is persistent. All right. And it's almost like they will make you think like, oh, it's okay to do it. It's not, because, having sex out of marriage literally opens the doors to a lot of other spirits. And the Bible tells us that fornication is idolatry. So if you are not married, you literally need to set that boundary and go ahead and say, listen, this is not what I'm about to do. And if you want to be connected to me, then you're going to have to work on your flesh, if that is the direction that they want to go right now. But you will always know a person's intention when you set boundaries, because boundaries will show you the spirit behind the person, if they are genuinely trying to pursue you in the way that God designed it to be. I pray that this video has given you some insight. There's more to come. I have an ebook bundle called the Lust Breakthrough Bundle. That is in the link in my bio. It is for if you're married or if you're not married. This ebook is for you. It teaches you how to pray for your spouse if they have a lust spirit, and also if there's a strategy book on how to basically navigate that situation if they are lustful. That is in the link in my bio. That ebook is not going to stay around, because I have a plethora of other ebooks God is using me to write. So it's only going to be here for a limited time. Okay, so that's in the link in my bio. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.